Hey, what's up, guys? Rampedi here. We're back with another episode. Kylian Mbappe lighting up the World Cup. And where are we with our African teams? Blom contract situation. We got to talk about it. Let's go.
That's how it goes?
They keep asking about the best when they know it's me.
Okay.
Asking about the rest when they know it's me.
Straight in, I guess.
You know it's me.
Let's start off with Argentina. Yep. Lionel Messi and his boys getting their first 3 points against Mexico. And I have to say, that was the real Argentina that I know. Not that one against Saudi Arabia. I think that one they went into that game being complacent. And as for Mexico, they came into this game knowing each other. These two sides have played each other previously and as well as in the Copa America. And they were dominating the game. There were times that I felt they were dominating the game. They were defensively sound. And even Martinez having to rope him into the back. You know, he's been on form for Manchester United. So bringing him into the game just gave them a little bit of solidity at the back. They needed a result and they needed a magic too because the game was at 0-0 for quite some time. But the man stepped up. Lionel Messi stepped up and he created that magic, scoring 93 goals for Argentina. That's quite a lot, eh? I mean, and one thing I really like about when he did score is that celebration. You know, you could just see how much it really means to him. You could see even the fans in the stadium as well, the Argentinian fans in tears. They can just see that, like, you know, it almost feels like everybody is coming together, hoping that Argentina can win it for Lionel Messi. And I think he also knows the pressure that he has on his shoulders to actually carry this team to another final as well. I will have to say this as well. A big plus is the fact that after they took the lead, they went 1-0 up. They controlled the game. I really watched this game thinking that Mexico is not going to come back and score. And that was a big plus. And that was the Argentina that I've been talking about for quite some time. The one before was so reliant on Lionel Messi, so reliant on him to do something, or the star players, the Sergio Agueros, the Higuains to do something. But this time around, it seems like they've got something functioning as well. You know, Rodrigo de Paul in the middle, just how he's controlling the balls. That is something that I do like. There's only one worry I have about Argentina. Just one. It's when they go behind. You know, and I know we only have one game to reference, which was the Saudi Arabia game. But that one game, when they went behind, they just did not have any answers. You know, it looked like they were panicked. It looked like they were saying, Messi, save us. And that's the only big worry I have about this side is that with the quality sides that are still left within the World Cup, this side will go behind again. I mean, they will go behind again. And I just want to see how will they react. They play a Poland that needs a win too. Luckily for them, I think Poland don't have necessarily a structure, but they know how to win games ugly. They're playing tomorrow. It'll be interesting to see how the game goes, but I think the win that Argentina got is going to spur them to another 3 points and see them go through the knockout stages. Back-to-back wins for France. 2 games, 6 points. You know, despite all the injuries that they have. You know, Pogba's not here, Kante's not here, but still, they're able to put a side like that out. They're still able to score goals. You know, you can't believe how much talent that the France team has. You know, they left Anthony Martial at home. He could have been in the squad. That's how much talent that they have. You know, they smashed Australia, and it's something that I expected. I expect them to score goals, even despite the fact that they started the game badly, going behind. But they just had too much quality for Australia. The Denmark game was the one that was crucial for me because for those who don't know, you know, France in the last 2 games before leading into that game against Denmark had not beat them. In fact, they lost, never mind even drawing. And that was in the UEFA Nations League. So home and away, Denmark, they won those 2 games. And the key thing about it was when Denmark equalized, because France scored first, Mbappe getting in the goal. When Denmark equalized, as stubborn as they are, France kept on going, kept on pushing, kept being in control of the game. And that's when I was like, okay, there's a mark of champions here. Like they've got a mark of champions to win this whole tournament. There is only one, I would probably say, one thing that also does worry me about this side is the fact that Kylian Mbappe, you know him, I love him. He's a great player. Produces moments of magic, able to score goals, create goals. My biggest worry was, what if he does get injured, you know? Because we've seen Karim Benzema go, you know? We've seen the likes of, you know, Rafael Varane had to come into this tournament late because of injury. So this team is likely to get injuries. And they're not keeping clean sheets as well. So it almost requires the likes of Griezmann to put in a performance that he did against Denmark, Giroud to score more goals, and as well as Dembele as well. Have a little bit of end product, because it just almost feels like the hopes are hanging on Kylian Mbappe. If he can't do anything, then you don't necessarily see that France side getting past the Denmark. Their final game is against Tunisia, and despite the fact that I can see they're going to rotate because they've already qualified, they're one of the few sides that have 6 points from 2 games. I think they're going to smash Tunisia. I really do, even with a rotated side, because the likes of Kingsley Coman come into play. So I still expect them to win big with the French players of the team, because also Tunisia just cannot find a goal from anywhere. So I think they will go into 9 points, and then it's on to the knockout stages, and it's going to be very key who they get in the next round. From an impressive performance against Iran to a disappointing one against the US, the England side, when they played against Iran, they were so dominant. They scored goals. They had class as well. And many goal scorers too. Rashford, Saka, Bellingham, all of them getting on the goals. And then they play the US. And funny enough, they have not beaten the US in over 20 years at a major tournament. And it showed. USA just ran more than them. And the one thing about USA is that I think they deserve to win that game. Unfortunately, they didn't have a clinical strike up front. You can just imagine if Kane was on that side. But you could just see that England couldn't cope with them, couldn't keep up with them, with the distances that US was covering as well on the pitch. And one thing that I noticed from previous tournaments, it's almost as if like every single tournament we're going to talk about this when it comes to the England national team. I know they made it to the final of the Euros. I know they made it to the previous semifinals of the World Cup. But you just feel like this could potentially be the reason again that they don't win a major tournament. And that is Gareth Southgate, their coach. His decision-making is a bit, I don't know, it's a bit otherwise. Not bringing on Foden. And he was asked about not bringing on Foden. And he was speaking about the pace that Rashford gives us. Henderson gives us more stability in midfield. And you're thinking, like, you got a talent like that. A talent like that. And one thing the English players, they're benefiting from is the fact that the English Premier League has been able to get such high-quality coaches. The likes of Pep Guardiola has come into that league. The likes of Jose Mourinho has come into that league. Arteta, learning from Pep Guardiola as well. We had Arsene Wenger, Sir Alex, they played their role. But Foden, you can just see he's molded into like the Spanish type player that Pep has made. And you don't have space for him in that team. And bring on Jordan Henderson. As I've mentioned, it's like he showed that he was scared of the US. He was scared. He pulled off Jude Bellingham, a player who's like 20, 21. He can run forever. But he pulls him off. He pulls him off and puts on Henderson because he could just see they can't keep up. The subs were too predictable. Playing it safe yet again. And Harry Maguire being your best player as well. You watch this England side because you see how Arsenal play. You see how Manchester City play and how Manchester United play and Liverpool play. And you see these English players within those teams. And, you could just imagine how you watch England and you're like, why can't you play like France plays? Why can't you play like Spain plays? Like, why can't you guys be entertaining? Why can't you guys score goals? And I don't want to take it away from Gareth Southgate, the fact that he reached his semi-final at the previous World Cup. He's reached his final at the previous Euros. But at those games, when he faced Croatia, you could see his tactical acumen was just low. The same as when they played at the Euros final. When Roberto Mancini changed it up, he just couldn't. And they play Wales next. And I would think they only need a point to sort of go through. But Wales are poor. And that's the thing. When you watch football, context is everything. I think they'll beat Wales. But still, Gareth Southgate, if there's one thing you can do for me before that Wales game, it's just release the handbrake. Let them go. Let them go. Let them play. And that's all I want to see. But I do think they'll get 3 points and move on to the next round. Brazil, for me, the most impressive team at this tournament. Convincing. Absolutely convincing against Serbia. They suffocated them completely. The likes of Mitrovic, they weren't getting the kind of service that they were getting against Cameroon yesterday. They played like that was the winner. When you watch a game and you're like, that's the winner. They just were in one half majority of the game. And you have to say, you would think that Neymar was going to be the star of that game, right? You would think that Vinicius was going to be the star of that game, right? No. You actually thought Rafinha was going to be the star of that game, right? No, I thought so too. But no, not at all. Richarlison stepping up. The man from Tottenham. The man who doesn't start for Tottenham yet. But the man who is really taking his chances. And to be fair, people were talking about Gabriel Jesus. Why is he not starting? Nope. Richarlison's the one who starts games for Brazil. And he kind of showed it. He showed it why. I mean, even his second goal. I mean, I watched that goal and I think that is pure Brazil. I mean, that goal is pure Brazil. The overhead kick, I mean, the way that the goal was being worked on from the left-hand side, I just thought, man, that's the Brazil of old. And what was more impressive about them was the fact that the star was not Neymar. Because I spoke about him last week, saying that this guy is going to want to score goals, but he was not necessarily the star. And he's been ruled out with injury. And even more impressive, they've been able to go on and beat Switzerland and get 6 points. Now in the final game against Cameroon, they can give the likes of Gabriel Martinelli a chance. They can give the likes of Gabriel Jesus a chance. And to be fair, from the Cameroon that I saw against Serbia, if Serbia can score 3, I mean, Brazil has the chance to at least score 5. That's for sure. Because Cameroon going up front, I think they're awesome. They got that striker from Bayern Munich, Choupo-Moting. But defensively, they just all over the place. And I think Brazil will be favorites to get 9 points for sure. And whoever gets them in the knockout rounds, be scared. A team we spoke about last week about being potentially the winner of this tournament, Portugal. The way they started their tournament, it was a little bit of a mess. You know, that game against Ghana was a little bit of a mess. It was entertaining. I enjoyed it. But there was just mistakes all around. There was mistakes everywhere. And Cancelo, I mean, what's happened to him? I mean, this was one of the best fullbacks not so long ago, last season. And all of a sudden, he's making mistakes because Ghana's goals came from that side. It was the crosses coming from that side. And also, one thing I love about Portugal is they show their ability to score. They can score goals. So Ronaldo getting on the goals, the way that he bought that penalty. I know we don't condone, sort of, you would say, cheating, because I don't think it was a penalty, but he's experienced to sort of win it as well. I mean, sometimes you need that little bit of gamesmanship to win games. And then Joao Felix, and as well as Rafael Leao. It was almost like the present passing on the baton to the future, because you would say the other 2 goal scorers are going to have to drive Portugal forward. With that said, I think Portugal face a similar problem as to what England have, and that is their coach, Fernando Santos. You know, Fernando Santos, at least what he can say is, I've won something with this side. I've won 2 things with this side. I've won a Nations League with this side. I've won the Euros with this side. Whereas Southgate can't say that. But I spoke about the fact that this side being the most talented, and I do think it's the most talented group that I've seen, but they're capable of being more colorful than what we're seeing on the pitch. I think it's a little bit too safe. I think also just when they score the goal, they just open up for some reason. You know, there's no structure a little bit. There's no like controlling of games, just the way Brazil was doing it. And I say it because I think Portugal have that capability of doing that. So they get another win against Uruguay. Puts them up to 6 points. I think this is the time now to sort of give others a run as usual. And possibly this time, let the players also go. Like, let them go play. Let them go try dominate a game. I think don't put any restrictions on them. But then again, you won the Euros. I didn't. So it's a remaining game against South Korea. South Korea will want to win that game, but Portugal are through and they've got nothing else to worry about. How are we feeling about our African teams so far in the World Cup? Let me go first. Senegal. You know, I'm so happy they threw. They had to gain courage to beat Ecuador because they needed to win. And I gotta say, they showed some desire to get that result. And even without money. I mean, to lose money just before the tournament started just goes to show that they were so brave. And I do think that they will give the team that tops Group B a problem. Whether it's England or not, we'll have to wait and see. Ghana, their performance against South Korea. I mean, that was determination. That was hot. That was them representing Africa. You know, I know a lot of the times we shade Ghana because of they actually beat us to qualify for the World Cup. They had to get through us, then they went to the playoffs, and then now they're into the World Cup. And I know sometimes we feel a little bit otherwise as South Africans because the penalty that was given for them, you know, we probably feel it wasn't deserved. But let's be honest, when you watch that performance against South Korea, they're probably representing better than what we could have done. So maybe they saved us, just maybe. And then, of course, I have to speak about Morocco. For me, the best side at the tournament, having to beat Belgium, second ranked in the world. I mean, this is a team that has ranked second in the world, and an African team has beat them. I mean, it's an upset, but it's you could just tell that Morocco have invested so much. And even Peter Ousmane spoke about it. He spoke about the fact that you have to watch what Morocco is doing and the money they're investing as well. I mean, their teams make finals of CAF Champions Leagues, make finals of CAF Confederations Cup, even made the CAF Women's final, and as well as made the WAFCON as well final. So Morocco just seems to be showing up everywhere, and they're showing up at this men's tournament as well. All they need is a point against Canada. And Canada, I still do think there's a little bit level of naivety that they're showing within the tournament. And I do think Morocco will be able to get that point and move on. And at least we'll have a side in the knockout stages. That's something that I'm confident about. Cameroon, on the other hand, it's too late. You know, it's too late. And to leave it being Brazil, the last game, you have to get 3 points. It's just too late. They've left it till too late. And I have to say we're doing better than what we did in 2018, because in 2018, no African side went through. Not one. So this time around, the only thing I can hope for is that by the end of the week, come Friday, that at least we have more than one side to qualify for the knockout stage. Let's bring it back home now. Kaizer Chiefs, they have a player. He was in the academy, and due to that one season where they had the transfer ban, he got his chance to play. Blom, and he took it. He took his chance and he ran. And now he's a mainstay within the side. Starts every single game, you would say, or almost every single game for Artazwane. I've spoken about his engine a number of times. His contract is coming to an end this season, and the agent has spoken about it, even on radio, spoken about the fact that Chiefs need to pay him right, for him to stay. They need to pay him what he's worth. And that's where they stuck. And then, of course, Bobby hit back. Bobby Motaung hit back and said that, now we're going to deal with him and his family and not the agent. But it seems like the agent's not going away, because he also said something else and said that, listen, they have to pay him what he's worth. And I have to say, if Kaizer Chiefs let this player go, serious questions will have to be asked, and especially by me, because I'm going to ask, where's the ambition of the club? They've spoken about players being expensive. They can't buy players because, they're too expensive. When Chiefs comes knocking, they put the price up. But now when you develop your own talent, you're not willing to pay for it to stay. And if Kaizer Chiefs wants those glory days to come back, you're going to have to spend money, whether you like it or whether you don't. And he's a young player, and he's a Bafana international. Whatever he is asking for, Kaizer Chiefs have to give it to him. Because in terms of youth products that Chiefs have produced lately, he's the best one. I mean, if Blom plays for a rival, Sundowns and Orlando Pirates, I think he could even make any side better within the DStv Premiership. If Kaizer Chiefs allow that to happen, serious questions have to be asked about if this club is still as ambitious as it was before. It's time for our weekly bet of the week. The purpose of this segment is to show you my bet slip in hopes that it helps yours light and green. The more accurate, the more cash you get. Let's get into it. The games are coming thick and fast this week. World Cup games. Got 4 World Cup games here. Let's go. Number 1, Tunisia going up against France. France, straight win. Straight. I think they're going to score goals against Tunisia. Poland going up against Argentina. I think Messi comes up with the magic, and I think Argentina wins that one. Canada going up against Morocco. I've somehow gone with a draw or Canada. I think Canada has got a lot of speed, and it might cause Morocco problems, but I don't think Morocco will lose, but I've sided that way to help my odds be up. And last but not least, Croatia against Belgium. Belgium, poor. I mean, they have been poor. Kevin De Bruyne saying they're too old. Jan Vertonghen coming out and saying that maybe our attack is poor as well because we're too old. They're fighting in the camp. I would just say Croatia is going to win that game, but I've gone with the double chance, Croatia or draw. And the odds, 5.92 with just $350. turns into 2,000 Rand. So that is my bet of the week. That is Bet of the Week, sponsored by Betway. Remember to practice responsible betting at betway.co.za. Until the next one, all the best. We've come to the end of the show. Before I go, let me know, what have you thought of the added time that's being implemented into the World Cup? 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 7 minutes, 10 minutes. Apparently they're doing it because they want majority of the game to be played so that the ball stays on the pitch. I've enjoyed it. Tell me what you think. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you're notified for future episodes.